Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Margherita Berti, and I am a PhD student in second language acquisition and teaching at the University of Arizona. I've been teaching foreign languages at the undergraduate level for almost 4 years, and my research looks at how we can use technology tools in the educational setting to foster language and cultural learning. Today, I will be discussing a project I conducted with students enrolled in beginner and intermediate Italian courses at a large university in the United States. So, cultural awareness in the language classroom, a virtual and immersive approach. First, let's start by defining virtual reality. Scholars, teachers, and students might have different interpretations of the term virtual reality. And a definition I particularly like and that I use in my research is the one by Carebrook, Brinkman, and Williams, who define virtual reality, or VR, as a computer-generated experience that can simulate physical presence in real or imagined environments. In my research, added to this, there is the importance of immersion, and high levels of immersions can be obtained by using headsets. With immersion, we mean a state in which a user is surrounded by new and different reality that claims its full attention. And with technology today, we have different levels of immersion. A low level of immersion is when there are numerous signals indicating the presence of devices in the physical world. So, for example, the use of a joystick to control the virtual environment. Also, when the immersion is low, we have a computer monitor with limited field of view, meaning that in the moment that I turn my head to the right or to the left, I'm not immersed anymore in the virtual world, and I can actually see the real physical world. When we have a moderate level of immersion, there are some signals which indicate the presence of devices in the physical world, and there are numerous screens with extended field of view, but it is not in 360 degrees. When the level of immersion is high, there are limited signals indicating the presence of devices in the physical world, such as the weight of the head-mounted device. And whenever we turn our head left or right, up or down, we only see the virtual environment and not the real physical world. This is the level of immersion that I'm interested in, when learners are completely transported to a new virtual place, which is authentic, and it enables them to be virtually present in that environment. Highly immersive environments also produce higher levels of presence. By looking at what has been done so far in the area of VR and language education, we can see that only a few studies have investigated VR for language learning. Lin and Lan analyzed published research from 2004 to 2013 in the COL journals LLT, Calico, COL, and Recall, and found only 21 studies related to VR. Also, of these studies, only 3 look at cultural awareness, and there was no mention of highly immersive environments experienced with headsets in Lin and Lan study. From my own research of the literature, I found that highly immersive VR is a new area in language education. And while I found studies published in Science concerning highly immersive VR, there is very little about language learning and teaching. So in my research, I decided to focus on cultural learning and cultural awareness because I believe it is often an aspect of language teaching that gets overlooked and put to the side after the other 4 skills have been developed. I believe it is important to expose students to a target culture from the beginning courses, and culture cannot and should not be separated from language teaching. As Lidicott explains, an absence of input about culture leads to a cultural space which is filled by uninformed and analyzed assumptions, based on assumptions and understanding from the learner's first culture. So if we leave the teaching of culture to advanced language courses, learners might have to unlearn their understanding of the culture in those advanced courses, and their understanding of the culture might be created on cultural assumptions as they were learning in beginner courses. In my research, I define cultural awareness by taking page et al. Definition, and by defining cultural awareness, cultural learning, the process of acquiring the culture-specific and culture general knowledge, skills, and attitudes required for effective communication and interaction with individuals from other cultures. It is a dynamic, developmental, and ongoing process which engages the learner cognitively, behaviorally, and affectively. It is important that learners understand that culture is not set in stone, a static aspect, but rather it changes and it varies across even just one country. In this project, I investigated the L2 Italian learners' attitudes towards the use of VR in the educational setting and how the use of VR technology impacts their cultural awareness. Students experience highly immersive VR environments with the use of Google Cardboard, as seen in this photo here, their smartphones with a YouTube app, and headphones to create a higher level of immersion. So by opening any 360-degree video in the YouTube app on your smartphone and clicking on the small headset icon on the bottom right of the video, as we can see in the middle image, the video of the smartphone divides in two, giving users a sense of depth once the device is inserted in a headset such as Google Cardboard. Although there are many VR headsets on the market, Google Cardboard is among the most economical ones, and when it's used with a smartphone and specific applications such as YouTube, it creates a stereoscopic effect which adds an illusion of depth to a flat image and gives users the illusion of presence in virtual environments. I also chose Google Cardboard since it can be used with different devices, whether it is Android or iOS, different screen sizes, and it's very easy to use. So participants in the study were 14 undergraduate students enrolled in beginner and intermediate Italian courses. It was an out-of-class activity, and the plan for the future and for my dissertation is to actually implement VR for a semester or at least a unit in Italian courses. In the study, participants viewed 4 360 degrees VR videos recorded in 4 different towns in Italy. And here I have the different environments, so a street in Florence, an opera theater in Modena, a bakery in Bergamo, a plaza in Milan, and you can view these videos yourself on YouTube. For the data collection, participants first completed a pre-survey in which they were asked about their use of technology, if they used VR before and for what purposes, and what technology they used in the classroom setting for cultural learning. Then participants were told, you will now be standing in a bakery in Bergamo, Italy. What do you expect to see? Describe colors, sounds, materials, people, the environment in general. And they wrote their reflections, what they thought they were going to see. And this was done individually and in English, since some students were completely new to Italian and had only been teaching the language for 2 months. Then there was the viewing with Google Cardboard, their smartphones, headphones, and then a post-written task where students answer the questions, did you experience what you expected to see? How was the experience similar or different from your hometown? And then there was a teacher-led discussion. During the discussion, some Italian keywords were highlighted, and participants discussed how the experience was similar or different from their hometown or what they expected. This type of this pre-written task, viewing and post-written task with discussion was repeated 4 times, once for each video. Finally, the post-survey was administered to see and understand participants' attitudes toward the implementation of VR in the classroom context. Here I have some of the results of the pre-survey, and due to time constraints, I'm not able to share all the results, but feel free to contact me if you would like to learn more about this. Participants reported that they had not used VR before in language courses, and those who have tried VR used it for gaming or entertainment. The way the students explore the culture inside the classroom was through readings, teachers' explanations, videos, images, but again, no use of VR for cultural learning. The pre-survey also included statements about technology and language learning on a 6-point Likert scale, and 84% said that they frequently use technology for their studies, and all participants believe that technology enhances language learning. Studying the Italian culture was important to all of them, but only 32% felt familiar with it. So as I previously explained, after the pre-survey, there was the first written task, the viewing, and then again, another written task plus discussion. I have an example here from a student. So in this case, the students were told that they were going to be standing in a bakery, which in this case, it would translate to panetteria. And this student wrote that she expected to see cookies, cakes, bread, a small building, old style. But after the viewing, she said that she didn't see pastries, there was a lot of pizza, the building was larger than she imagined, it was updated with modern displays, but the architecture was still very historical. So this actually emerged in multiple participants' reflections, and in the teacher-led discussion, students said that they expected to see this white hat pastry chef making all kinds of pastries and desserts. And this is when I told them that, yes, you will find in Italy a pastry chef with a white hat, but most likely not in a panetteria. A pastry chef is typical of a pasticceria, or maybe a coffee shop, where we make pasticcini, which means pastries in English. Then after the 4 viewings, along with written reflections and discussions, I wanted to know what students thought about the experience and if they could see a use of it, of VR, in the classroom. And all participants except one found the experience educational, and all of them found it useful to learn more about Italy. 65% said that they would like to regularly use VR in their Italian classes, and 79% reported that they prefer learning about Italian culture through immersive VR videos instead of static textbooks images. Then in the post-survey, there were also some open-ended questions asking participants about how this experience compares to previous experiences in the language classroom. And one of them said that this really brought to life what my professor has been exposing to me. It is one thing to hear about it and see a couple of pictures, but to be immersed is an entirely different thing. Another student said that I like that you get to focus on whichever details catches your attention. I like a regular presentation while everything is filtered through your teacher's point of view. So from this project, I learned that with VR, we can create personalized learning experiences, and VR gives students a feeling of immersion, which they probably do not experience with traditional pedagogical materials. VR was also positively perceived by language learners, and the learners noticed different cultural layers which help them understand that culture is dynamic and particular and not static or generalizable. One important limitation was that VR made some students feel nauseated, especially before viewing, so I recommend to space out viewings, and I think this is a problem that might be prevented with more advanced, expensive headsets like the Oculus. Last, I believe it is important to be intentional with VR and emphasize content rather than technology. So as language educators, we have to think about how a new technology will foster and enhance language learning. I want to thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope it was useful to you. And please let me know and feel free to contact me if you have any questions or comments. Thank you.